This Seattle Seahawks edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBET. Bet $50 at WynnBET and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WynnBET. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bets today. We're also brought to you by IPVanish. IPVanish is the official VPN of SGPN, and they're offering you 70% off if you go to IPVanish.com/SGP. That's IPVanish.com/SGP. And make sure to check out our new Discord server, the perfect place to interact and sweat bets with the entire SGPN crew. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord.
This is Brian Bosworth, aka The Boz, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother. Peace out. Boz out.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking that money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Seahawks, baby. We love a good we love a good seabird here on the Sports Gambling Podcast. You know I'm a big fan of islands and oceans and where the land meets the sea. So we love the Pacific Northwest. We love everything about this team. We're big fans of Russell. Are those neon green uniforms going to look as fire without? I mean, the pacifier is still going to look good in DK Metcalf's mouth with all that money, but I don't know if those green unis are going to look as good without our guy Russ.
Well, and the important thing to remember is how are you going to turn this into a conversation about Dan Jones? Hunter in the YouTube chat wants to know.
I didn't do it this time. You did it.
All right. Well, the line, whatever the line was set at, that would not count towards the under on when Kramer mentions.
We won't. Okay, so the clock is still going.
Yeah, the clock is still going, and the clock again. I'm having so much fun. I'm glad we did this. The 32 NFL team previews. I think it's. I like this way of attacking the teams and the previews because it's easier to just wrap your head around one team.
Yep.
Get kind of some angles on it. Obviously,
we
shout
don't
out to the research team.
Yeah, we don't do that thing where we completely skip over a team because we're just running really long and the Cardinals are going last. And sorry, Cardinals.
Well, and then we still have the division preview, so we can highlight which of the teams are our locks on the win totals. And then throw in some. I know people want. Player prop stuff, fantasy stuff. I think we'll save some of that for the division previews because as like more and more numbers come out for some of these like player prop stuff as it goes along in the process. But just sitting down, attacking the win total. This is football season, Ryan.
Football.
Speaking of football, oh man. Imagine this: you and your entire fantasy football league hanging out at the Win. You know how much fun that would be? Pretty easy to do. All you go is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. Do us a solid. Sign up there. If you're in a WynnBET state, what are you waiting for? sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Bet $50, win $200 in free bets. This promotion will not last forever. And the ultimate fantasy football experience, your chance is coming to an end. Only a few more days left for that experience. Get those tickets in, get those entries in. Because, again, hanging out at the Encore Beach Club, if it's cool enough for Gronk, it's cool enough for you. And again, pulling all the win totals, division odds, conference championship, all 32 NFL previews, numbers coming right from WynnBET. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state. Or play through WynnBET is available. If you or someone has a gaming problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Here we are, Ryan, talking about your Seattle Seahawks. Well, again,
my Seattle Seahawks. Are you
this is interesting.
Speaking to the audience.
Yes, this is interesting because we just did the Denver Broncos.
How diabolical!
Obviously, the massive offseason trade. Russell Wilson heads from Seattle to Denver. Seattle gets a ton of picks. Drew Lock, Noah Fant. Where are we at with the latest camper? I was on Seattle, the Seahawks subreddit to try and see if I can get any camp reports.
A lot of soccer moms in there
on who has the edge, and it's all just a lot of them commenting on Russ showing up to the Broncos training camp in his own Russell Wilson jersey, and they're still just all in their feelings about Russell Wilson. I really couldn't find anything about Drew Lock versus Geno Smith as far as who was going to end up winning the job here. Have you gotten a lead as far as who's going to end up being the starting quarterback?
Sources close to the situation. I think our reports have always kind of been, it seems like Geno Smith is what Pete Carroll has been saying. I think Pete Carroll is the kind of guy that would lean towards a Geno Smith, right? Pete Carroll is going to want to play what kind of ball, Sean? Conservative ball. And not to jump ahead into the numbers, but I was telling you before we got started here that I accidentally went down a little bit of I don't know. I don't want to call it a Drew Lock wormhole, but basically, not to bore you with a ton of numbers, but last time Lock was a starter, he was 2020.
Yep.
Denver Broncos. Who can forget the Drew Lock experience? First round pick, by the way, out of Missouri. Number 3 in intended air yards. What does that mean, Sean? Throwing the ball down the field.
Not afraid to unleash it.
Last in on target throws. Number 1 in bad throws per an attempt. No, third to last in expected completion percentage, and 8th in aggressive throw percentage. This all tells you what Drew Lock has 0 fucks to give about turning the ball over, about taking chances, which in some offenses they might like that.
I would
right?
like
Gunslinger.
that as a fan. Yeah.
But if you're a team, and again jumping ahead, but if you're a team that might struggle to defend the ball, defend the pass specifically, and your offensive line might be a little banged up, I don't know if that's a profile for a starting quarterback Pete Carroll wants. For perspective's sake, the 7 quarterbacks ahead of him in aggressive throw percentage that year were Mike Glennon, Fitzpatrick, rookie Joe Burrow,
gamers,
Mitchell Trubisky,
gamer,
Nick Foles.
I was gonna say he kind of
rookie Tua, Brandon Allen, and Joe Flacco was behind him in one slot. So like just the all 0 fucks to give team, or a lot of guys with 0 fucks to give there. I just think that. We're getting into it now, but I think, last year I would have told you I'm betting Drew Lock is going to be the starter for the Broncos week 1. This year, it's hard for me to see that. I know they traded for him. I know he was thrown in, but Pete Carroll is the same coach that said, "Oh, who the fuck are you, Matt Flynn? Russ Wilson looks way better. Get the fuck out of the way. I don't care that I just paid you some money." So Pete Carroll's going to play the guy he wants to play. And I think when he sees his team and he sees what his team's going to try to do, how do you not expect it to be Geno Smith?
Geno Smith in started 4 games last year, only 1 interception. Now, again, he was 10 for 17, 23 for 32, 12 for 22. He actually had a really good game against the Jags at home. 20 of 24, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 195 passing yards. Only 4 games, 209 passing yards was the high. And I think that's the kind of offense they want to run. They don't want someone throwing for 300 passing yards. They don't want someone risking, some sort of interception. And his yards per attempt, to his credit, 7.39, which isn't horrible considering you're not throwing for that many passing yards. And I test. Listen, it's Geno Smith, right? So there's not much of a ceiling. You're
talking to the man who ended Eli Manning's consecutive start streak.
Had to
watch your tongue.
Had to get a look at Geno Smith there. It's going to be interesting because I do think their front 7 on defense is.
It's going to be Geno Smith because of
competent.
that. Yeah, it's going to be that Geno Smith it's going to be Geno Smith because of that one interception. That's it. Purely.
Yeah.
Last year they were 26th on the good side of EPA per turnover, meaning their offense isn't turning the ball over into points for the other team. And I don't think they're going to change that this year.
So their draft picks: Charles Cross, offensive tackle, Boye Mafe in the second round, Ken Walker in round 2 as well, Abraham Lucas, offensive tackle, round 3. So it's interesting. So they are loading up on the offensive line.
They're trying to do the right thing.
PFF has them projected 32.
Wait, how many teams are there?
There's 32. So again, those rankings are whatever, but I mean, I'm not going to manually break down every offensive line film, but that's off to a rough start. And Football Outsiders had this comment, which I thought is pretty interesting. Pete Carroll, who wants to run smash mouth, shove it down people's throats, drafted a pair of tackles who played in the air raid, Mike Leach. And again, as someone who saw Andre Dillard firsthand,
how was that experiment?
He's a great backup left tackle. He's not a starting. I think maybe in the right offense he could start, but certainly never going to be like top half NFL starter. When they played him at right tackle, he looked horrible. He's figured it out a little bit, but he was also super soft as a player. And I don't know Charles Cross enough, but I think that is a red flag. Like, wouldn't you? Like the air raid passing off sets are like completely different. You're just like set up real quick and the ball gets out of the quarterback's hands very quickly.
The counter argument would be, like you said, I think the issue with Dillard might have been he was soft. I think we might have even talked to Coach Leach about, you tried to even ask him about Dillard, and we got, in hindsight, his answer may have told a story about a guy that he wasn't super high on.
He didn't want to talk about him.
And so maybe it was just a character thing, because I do think the flip side of what you said is you don't know how they're going to be in that part of the game. Like, what do we hear about Charles Cross? Best pass blocker, like highest ceiling for a pass blocker potentially, but not much to talk about in the run blocking, which again, curious if you're Pete Carroll and you want to run smash mouth, but it could be that that untapped resource. He believes, Pete Carroll believes he can coach anyone up, Sean.
Yeah. And
you got, like, do you think is he just the old man who's getting delirious and just can't get it done anymore? Or does he have another rebuild in him? The motherfucker. I mean, if anyone's going to be old as fuck and keep doing it, it's like Belichick's curmudgeon ass over there looks like he's getting old. Pete Carroll's still ripping his shirt off, flexing with DK,
chewing some gum,
exploring what happened with Building 7, doing all the important things.
Here's the thing with the Seahawks and Pete Carroll. I still think Pete Carroll, his rah-rah like college stuff does get old and wears on people. I think there was some personnel issues, or just personal belief differences between him and Russell Wilson that ultimately, he wanted to play a different style of football, et cetera, et cetera.
And now you flush out all of that.
I think if you brought in like an offensive coordinator, that was like real. I still think Pete Carroll can coach up the defensive side of the ball. Is what I'm getting at. I am very skeptical about his ability to coach up a modern NFL offense. And
defense was 21st last year, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they have tremendous amount of talent, but I don't think it's because of his coaching that they're going to be successful or not successful. Like, I think scheme wise, and they were also out on the field for a tremendous amount of time. That defense last year, like, they had historic differences in time of possession, which again isn't the hugest stat, but at some point it does make a difference.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? Because if you look back to last year, that they were plus 29 point differential, which we've talked about a number of teams that underperformed Pythag by a lot. Not as many as the Seahawks, 2.3 wins. And so, interesting to hear that the time of possession was also very lopsided. Probably need to double click into that more and see what's going on. But, to your point on coaching up the defense, they couldn't get after the quarterback last year. And that was the issue. 7th lowest pressure rate.
Well, and they brought in Jamal Adams, the idea of like, hey, it's going to be this blitzing safety and he can create a lot of havoc. Bobby Wagner's kind of fallen off. He's no longer with the team. Jamal Adams, quote, was playing with one arm damn near the last 2 years. He had a bunch of offseason surgeries for his shoulder and his hand. And now already early in camp, he's getting another opinion because something didn't feel right in his hand. So that's That's not a good sign for the Seahawks there. As far as, kind of getting back to the offensive line, finished 28th in blown block rate on both runs and passes, an impressively consistent level of incompetence. And, you could make a case they might be even worse if you're starting a rookie offensive tackle. And Charles Cross, I think, ton of unknowns. One, how good is he going to be in the NFL? Two, how good is he going to be for that system? So there's a lot there. Shout out to Dryden in the YouTube chat. Again, we're always live on YouTube. Turn those notifications on, subscribe. He's saying Russell may be the weirdest dude on the planet. So glad I don't have to pretend to like that guy anymore. Again, I think I would have the same reaction if I was a Seahawks fan, where it's like, all right, we had a good run. It wasn't going anywhere. He's saying Ken Walker, top 3 fantasy running backs. I don't know about that. One, because of the offensive line, but two, Rashad Penny closed out the year really strong. I think they are going to run the ball a ton. I just don't know if Ken is going to get the splits to carry it. Right?
I think they're both going to get it. But to your point,
I think it's
right,
going to be like closer to even.
You just highlighted how bad the O line was, but yet we see nerd fantasy Twitter constantly putting out these efficiency numbers from Rashad Penny. Does that mean he's just all fucking world, or did they were they just strangely efficient? I think the Football Outsiders pointed out that they weren't horrible on first or second down, yet they were like bottom of the league in third and yardage to go, which means like, I don't know what that means, but it's like, how does Rashad Penny look so attractive in fantasy to the spreadsheet nerds when the O line sucked?
Yeah. I mean, again,
kind of curious, right? Like, this is a team that won 7 games, but should have been a 9-win team. This is a team that went 3-5 in close games. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you look
0-2 without Russ though, for
look at Rashad Penny's last, these last 6 games where he essentially led the NFL. 16 for 137, 11 for 39. That was kind of his low point. But then he did have, and a ton of touchdowns too. 17 of 135, 25 of 170, 23 of 190. And they're winning these games. They beat Arizona 38-30. They beat the Lions 51-29. I just don't see Pete Carroll icing this guy, or at least giving so much to Ken Walker that he's not a factor. Like, I think it's going to be a true 50-50 split.
I think they drafted Ken Walker because they knew Chris Carson wasn't going to play any more football.
Yeah. Well, and then
I think
obviously Chris Carson retired. Rashad Penny does get hurt, but I think until he gets hurt, he's gonna be an interesting DFS play.
I know it's easy to look at Pete Carroll and see that he's old and think that he's definitely playing like Connect 4 checkers while we're playing chess over here, but he knows he wants to run the ball a lot, so he went out and got a second really good running back.
Yeah,
I think there is something to knowing what you want to be as a team. I kind of use this as an argument for the Falcons, right? You don't have to be great. You can even be below average, but if you're very specific at what you are trying to do, it might just work. And to your earliest point, Pete Carroll has coached up teams before. Pete Carroll has built out of nothing before. And if his rah bullshit doesn't work, then yeah, it's going to be a tough hill to climb. But could this be a team that is playing good enough defense to be in these like 17-19 type battles every week?
You
covering a lot of spreads.
You were over on the Falcons, Ryan, and you could see the similar profiles here.
This is a better roster though.
No, that's what I was going to say. I think this is a better roster and a better head coach, and in particular a better defense.
But hard to argue the coach.
Similar. Well, again, I mean, Arthur Smith maybe does it. We're operating on a small sample size for Arthur Smith, but
gun to my head, is Arthur Smith going to have an elite offense, or is Pete Carroll going to randomly have an elite defense? I'll take the chance that Pete Carroll can coach up some cornerbacks, because that's the area where they look.
Right.
Sidney Jones is their number 1 cornerback, Sean.
Which is
Sidney
really
Jones
scary.
is their number 1 cornerback.
He set a career high of 11 starts last year. I still think this team is interesting because
18 of their 39 sacks left with Carlos Dunlap and Rasheem Green.
If they were going to completely bottom out, why would they keep Pete Carroll? I think I think Pete Carroll has tons of job security. I think he can scheme up enough to be competent in these games. I just don't. I don't know. Like I kind of think 6 wins might be the floor for this team. I mean, I'm really worried about the offensive line, and if they are,
no, the floor is worst team in the league.
Yeah, that's probably true because of the offensive line. I think
because of the combination of offensive line and quarterback room.
Yeah, you're right. Quarterbacks.
I think Carolina and Seattle are in a unique competition. In Atlanta, well, I guess they're all in the same kind of boat where they have the ceiling on their quarterback situation isn't very high, regardless of what happens. I do think the version where Pete Carroll says "fuck it" and decides to roll Drew Lock out there. I mean, if this team is throwing pick sixes, they can't come back. Like, yeah, they're just in trouble.
Well, and that's why like the version where it works is Geno Smith, play action,
45 carries a game.
God damn, they have Lockett, they have DK Metcalf who just signed a deal. Who might? I mean,
that was shocking to me.
DK Metcalf can win a game by himself, I think.
But you know what that told me with DK? If you're DK, do you sign into this situation right now?
Yeah. If the guaranteed money's right, yeah.
But was it going to get worse if he waited?
According to DK, he said he was bluffing, just trying to get the best deal. He never wanted to leave Seattle. So maybe he's just saying that after the fact.
Can I tell you my conspiracy theory?
Sure.
They told him we're going to go get Jimmy G.
That's the other thing. Jimmy G. If a Jimmy G trade was going to happen,
that's a perfect like chips on shoulders.
So here's the thing. All right, let's take a timeout, Ryan. Let's workshop this. Why is Jimmy G not on a new team yet? Right? It's no, I'm saying
because no one's offered anything for him.
Right,
and they won't. And they're. Here's my theory. Seattle's already offered for him. They don't want to trade him in division.
Okay.
No one else is coming. They're waiting as long as possible. He'll eventually get dealt to Seattle.
I don't know. Maybe he gets cut and then signs with Seattle. The ultimate disrespect. Or do they just suck it up and go, fine? I mean, Jimmy, let's hypothetically, if Jimmy G is on this team, what is their win total? I think you almost have to take the over on this 5.5 just for the chance that Jimmy G ends up here.
Jimmy G's ceiling on a team is like 9 wins, 10 wins, and his floor is like 7 wins.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I'm setting the line and they trade for Jimmy G, I immediately put this up to 7. I bump it like 1.5 wins, which is maybe am I
caution,
crazy?
We are talking about Jimmy G,
right? Coming off a shoulder surgery, but the dude, you give him a running game. Again, the offensive line is what I'm coming back to, but. Where else could he end up? Jimmy G, maybe Cleveland, but now it seems like the suspension isn't going to be the entire season.
10 games.
My original guess was 8. I'm going to stay there until I see otherwise, but it seems like it's not going to be more than 8 from what I've read. So I think like a 6 to 8 game, then they're not trading for Jimmy G.
Okay.
If you're
where else?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Injury. They're waiting for a camp injury.
They're praying for someone that's competitive to blow out an ACL. If you would have wanted to make a run on Jimmy G, you would have already done it. The only place that makes sense is Seattle.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what we're going with. And I think also it
to Dryden's point, and granted, take it with a grain of salt. He is a Seahawks fan. Seahawks should be an amazing team to bet ATS because public is completely low on them. You have a veteran head coach who knows how to coach up, especially division games. And I do think he's like a decent motivator as well. Now, the historically inefficient offense mixed with the offensive line and mixed with if they put in Lock and open themselves up to more turnovers and Geno Smith, we've also seen Geno Smith turn it over. And now. That was
Geno's never been the guy though going onto a team.
It's true. I'm just saying this last Geno run we saw last year where they really kind of protected him a little bit from himself as far as turning the ball over. If we can see that Geno, I think they're good to the over. Where you could see it go off the rails is if he's trying to become hero.
Sidney Jones is their number 1 cornerback. I mean,
I know that's what I go back and forth. Is that a horrible sign or in a weird way? Pete Carroll has coached up Sidney Jones and makes him look like a genius.
Pete Carroll is a guy who's coached up DBs before, so I think it's also important to point out that part of their problem on defense last year was the fact that they, for whatever reason, they didn't have Jamal around the line of scrimmage, and it was like, why not have this guy? Like, he should be part of the reason they're generating pressure, and maybe they'll get smart on that. And maybe part of that was they just didn't have the back end talent, and they brought in some reinforcements. But I think this is one of the worst this is one of the worst defenses in the league potentially if he isn't able to coach people up, and that's the scary part.
Well, and I do think there's
it's bad in the worst kind of way, which is they can stop the run, but they can't stop the pass.
Shelby Harris, they have some guys up front that are decent. You know what I mean? I think there is some talent, but to your point, the back end, it could get real scary real fast.
Yeah.
Strength of schedule according to win total, 22nd easiest, so not a harder than average schedule. Special teams DVOA 5th. So again, that's like, you know,
love bringing up the special teams.
Well, I think he can swing a game or two, and you know, again, Carroll is a college coach, aka has some Chip Kelly probably in him to some degree, where special teams matter. You're going to spend time on special teams, and you're going to see results from special teams. So I think they will be a top 10 special teams unit.
Yeah, I mean they're going to need to be anything good. I think the one they could be really bad, but they also. I would say it's the same argument I've used for the Texans and the Falcons about being almost kind of screwing up, like being bad and winning a couple games because of the rah bullshit. Because Pete Carroll's not getting fired.
Yeah,
and like look at last year, right? Would they win 4 games in the last like 6 weeks of the season to end up with 7? Like they could do the same thing and screw up a good draft pick. Pete Carroll doesn't care about the future. And unless Pete Carroll retires, I saw a couple things being speculated about the fact that, if you're betting first coach fired, Pete Carroll's up there. And if you read the fine print, it includes,
it's
because of the Gruden clause.
Unless,
but
we got to get our shit going.
Do you think Pete Carroll could walk away midseason?
No. Pete Carroll's old school,
following the steps of road rash face Bobby Petrino.
No, unless one of his players were accused of receiving money. I don't see him. I don't see him making a quick departure from Seattle. It would have to be something crazy, unforeseen, health issues, family stuff.
Health issues come up when you lose football games.
No, yeah, maybe he's Urban Meyer. Oh, my heart.
Pete Carroll's out at the bar. Finding his way into some chick's ass.
What?
Urban Meyer. I was making an Urban Meyer.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
He was doing the college coach thing.
He was probing a recruit.
Yeah. So having a sleepover with a kicking recruit.
All right. We're going to get to the schedule. Before we do that, shout out ipvanish.com/SGP. Head over there right now. If you are using the internet, which most certainly you are to listen or watch this show, and you're not using a VPN, man, what are you doing? That is just unsafe behavior. And again, IPVanish is so great. You can put it on a streaming device like a Fire Stick. What I'd always been my hesitancy on using a VPN is like, oh, you got to run your internet traffic through a VPN. It's going to slow everything down. It's going to mess up your streaming. Trust me, it's not. We run it for God's eye. It does not slow anything down. I mean, we're running it here on the studio. It's not going to impact your streaming speeds at all. And you can use it on unlimited devices. So if you're traveling, using sketchy Wi-Fi, whatever, again, you have so much sensitive internet data for a number of reasons. You don't want anyone getting in there. 30-day money back guarantee. So again, if you're like, maybe VPN isn't for me, try it for 30 days, money back guarantee. And they're giving you 70% off if you use our link, which please do us a solid. ipvanish.com/SGP, ipvanish.com/SGP. All right. Before we get to that, let's talk 2020 results. What did they do? 12-4, of course. Prime Russ got knocked out of the playoffs, though. 8-9 ATS. Smashed the over there at 9.5. Last year, first time in a long time, they did not hit 10 games. 7-10 straight up. Although 9-8 against the spread. To Dryden's point in the chat, they could be a sneaky team to bet on.
I certainly think they could be if they're playing decent defense and just like melting games away by running the ball.
Yeah. So if they're big dogs, I think we will find some spots to get on them. 5.5 is the win total, although you're paying for it if you're on the over -150, under +135, 14-1 to win the NFC West, 75-1 to win the NFC, 150-1 to win the Super Bowl, +440 to make the playoffs, -625 to miss. Hunter saying, is there a chance Pete Carroll gets the boot when they start like 1-5? No, I don't see that. He's like an old school guy.
Won a Super Bowl.
I don't think, and management's like pretty hands off. I think they're looking to sell the team.
Seattle's like happy to root for their team city, right? Like
almost like Pittsburgh,
like
where
they're fixing on how they're going to be Broncos fans this year because they want to root for Russ too.
They're talking about their MLS team. They're talking about how many days do you need to keep your cold brew. Hey, what kind of yeast do you have for your IPA? Like that, they're not going to be breathing down his neck. Talking about how public transportation is going to save the world. What are we going to do with the Space Needle? They have throwing fish left and right. They have their hands full. I don't think they're going to
be photograph exchange.
Wait, what? James Webb?
The new NASA telescope.
Oh, okay.
That has
that was a deep pull, Ryan.
Oh, thanks. I pay attention to some things outside of this bubble.
The telescopes are on your radar.
Yeah, we can look way further back in time, Sean. You really need to get into this.
No, I'm
disappointed in you. You like space, right?
Who doesn't?
It's smoking my weed.
Space, the final frontier. All right, Ryan, let's walk through their schedule.
Oh, real quick,
we can settle on this win.
I don't think I said our preseason guess was 12-5 for me, 13-4 for you. Didn't get that one right.
Well, again,
ATS though, Sean, we were dialed in. 11-6 for you, 9-8, and for me, it's weird too because I feel like a lot of our dialed inness was picking against them. We had a nice stretch where we were fading them when it wasn't right. I think we just knew Russ.
Yep.
And I obviously ate a little bit more of the cocaine than you when it came to picking him when he was down. But all right, so schedule. Man, I can't believe Seahawks 5.5. It just almost looks like a typo. First 4 Broncos again. We discussed this on the Broncos preview, but I'm sure this was completely random that the Broncos and Seahawks start the season off on Monday Night Football.
Shout out to the commissioner. Not enough people kiss the ass of the NFL commissioner. I'm gonna be the number one. I got to get my Rob Lowe hat. I do have one of the. Ryan, that might be still your garage. If you can find that and bring that into the studio.
All right. Yeah, I mean that would be a fun angle for us to have.
Being very pro commissioner.
Goodell.
Yes, we're officially just going to become everyone. It's the all-time zag. Everyone shits on Roger Goodell. We're going to be number one fans of the commissioner. Again, he's got you the NFL. You don't like that?
Well, why Roger Goodell is the greatest commissioner of all time. All right, Denver at home. Oh, no way Russ loses that game. At San Francisco, Atlanta at home, at Detroit. That doesn't sound, as I say it out loud, as the most difficult schedule.
Which ones?
The first 4 games that I was just saying, Sean. Pay attention. Denver at home, at San Francisco, Atlanta at home, at Detroit. Fun fact: before we start picking the quadrants or the almost quadrants, Seattle only leaves the Pacific time zone how many times this year, Sean?
Ooh, this is good. I'm gonna say twice.
4 times.
Okay.
One is
not as good as the Steelers, but still not bad.
Well, think about it. The Steelers are more teams are in the East for them to only have to come out of the time zone really 3 times because one of them's the Germany game. So Tampa's going to be kind of in the same boat there. So to only have 3 games where they're really having that bad body clock and one of them being this Detroit game, not a bad way to start the season for this team. I mean, can they win 2 games out of these 4?
I'm gonna go 2-2. I think they're gonna be fired. Right I think. Well, so I'm chalking up the.
They lose the first game.
Yeah, Falcons at home. I know you're high on them, but I think that's a good spot for this Seahawks team. And then I think they could win one of the road games between the 49ers and the Lions.
I'm actually going to go 1-3.
I'll go 2-2.
You're being optimistic. I like it. All right. Which, by the way, fun nugget. Actually, I'll save it for later. One of my prop bets has something to do with those first 4 games. All right. At New Orleans, Cardinals at home. At the Chargers, Giants at home. Can they catch? So they'll be favored in the Atlanta game. They'll be favored in the Giants game, maybe, unless the offense is looking fire because Dan Jones is lighting it up. 35 minutes. That went way over.
So Cardinals at home. That's a fun game.
Yeah, but I think the Cardinals lose the game later in the season.
Yeah.
I am going to respect the division.
I mean, Giants at home, lock that one up. I'm just thinking if I can get them.
I'm going to go 1-3.
Yeah, because I think Saints is always a tough place to play. Chargers is non-conference, and Herbert, you just feel like is going to carve up that secondary. I mean, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen versus Sidney Jones. I just don't see them getting away.
Like, to me, that's the way you like if the team they're playing.
Yeah,
can threaten you through the air. Like that's part of the reason you probably like them to take down Atlanta. But yeah, if they can throw the ball, which maybe that's why San Francisco is vulnerable. But yeah, coming back to the 4 we're talking about at New Orleans, one of the 3 games they have the body clock disadvantage. Arizona at home, at Chargers, Giants 1-3, and then all right at Arizona, at Tampa in Germany. How are they going to make the team from Seattle go all the way to Germany?
Did Tom Brady request Germany?
Oh, of course he did.
Get his blood spinned.
I dare you to look at his bags coming back from that trip. I dare you to look at it. Then they have the bye week after the international game.
Okay.
Then they have Raiders at home, at Rams.
Ugh, tough stretch. Yeah, this is a tough schedule. I'm gonna go 1-3. That's even being.
Which one do they win?
I think. I think they're going to be competitive in a lot of division games. So I think Cards or Rams.
All 4 of these teams can put up 500 yards passing.
Yeah,
that's a problem. And for the most,
you don't think Sidney Jones can guard Devontae Adams? I mean,
Tampa and the Rams shut down the run. That's a problem.
0-4 is in the realm of possibilities, but I'm going to go 1-3.
I didn't want to be so down on this team. I think it's going to happen though. I'm going to go 0-4. You're being very conservative, Sean.
What do you mean?
All right. Next up, we have Panthers at home, Niners at home, at Chiefs, Jets at home.
Okay. 2-2.
This is classic Pete Carroll. There are winnable games here. They will be favored. I mean, will they be favored in 2 of these games? They'll be favored against the Jets.
But I'm slightly
They'll be favored
against
the Panthers.
Yeah, that one. Maybe I'll go 1-3 here. But I do like them against the 49ers and Jets at home. No, I'll say 2 then. Yeah, I'll say 2. I think
Chiefs the last time they leave the Pacific time zone. You know what? 3-1. Classic Pete Carroll.
Okay.
Peak late.
I'm going 2-2.
They're sitting on the first pick, and Pete Carroll gets the team rallied.
Oh, you know that's going to happen.
Drew
Locke's
in week playing
17.
fuck it ball. All right, what do you got?
I'll go 2-2.
All right, and then they have the Rams at home last week of the season. Rams probably won't need. You know what? I'm going to go 2-2 because I'm going to give them the Rams game because the Rams won't need it.
3-2 for the last 5. I could see them closing strong or at least respectable there.
All right, so I'm entering the data into the computer, and it spits out 5-12 for me, and it spits out. Oh wow! And I gave them an extra win in there, I think somewhere, and it spits out. Oh wow, Sean, you're high on them 7.
Yeah, I mean over 5.5 minus 150.
You like 7? You want to make any adjustments here because that feels like a real. I guess you're getting some Jimmy G insurance.
Yeah, no, I think that is real because if Jimmy G comes here, I think it's going to shoot. The win total is going to be 7. So I think if you can get the over right now, I would just rather play it as a. Do we have anywhere that has? I would just try and find it as like a over 6 minus 120 ish, right?
Oh, I just accidentally closed my alt win total.
I just
tab.
don't. This Seahawks team, I don't know.
I guess here's the question: do you want to play the like? What do you think's more likely, the bottom out case or the ceiling case?
Well, again,
like no trade. Like trade is like without.
I think their ceiling is 9 wins, but I think their floor is like 5 because this is a Pete Carroll team where like they're gonna figure out how to win some of these games. I know their quarterback sucks.
But
they
what
still
if he's
have a
just
decent
old?
home field advantage.
What if the only reason they were winning games was Russ?
He could have completely lost it. All right, we're gonna talk more NFL futures, but you know who might need a helping hand from future you? You. That's right. That was super confusing, but you know what's not confusing? Using Dave. Dave is your good buddy. It's gonna help you out with some cash. Get it to you quick here. Again, we've all been in a situation where, maybe you're Russell Wilson about to go to Denver Broncos training camp. You really need a Russell Wilson jersey. In this situation, you're not getting paid like Russell Wilson. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You need some extra cash. Maybe you already agreed to go to a game with your buddies. Everyone's like, hey, send the money for the tickets. You're like, shit, thought I was going to get overtime these past couple of weeks. I haven't been getting it. Dave is there to help you. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash, more money to catch up on some bills, tackle all those financial things that are just stressing you out. No interest and no credit check needed. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get the financial relief they need with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch and need some extra help, download Dave and think of it as a helping hand from future you. Download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member FDIC. So yeah, I'm fine with 7. It's a little high,
okay,
but I mean, really, 6 and 11 is like lock city for me.
Feel like I didn't. I felt like I was going to come into this being a little bit.
I thought I was just going to be like, they completely suck. They're cooked. But when you look at some of the talent on the front 7, the fact that they do have a decent running game, still some quality receivers there, the version with Geno Smith where they limit their turnovers. And I do think Pete Carroll, while not a like super sharp offensive mind, I don't think Pete Carroll's going to get embarrassed. I mean, certainly there's a version of this where the wheels completely come off and they do get embarrassed, but I don't see them getting embarrassed. Like I think they're going to be competitive enough to, 7 and 10, maybe on the high spectrum, but
it feels really high.
I don't think they're going to be in the mix there for the worst team in the NFL. And you look at the end of the schedule, Ryan, like I think they're going to be.
No, I definitely like the way that I predicted them fucking up the first pick.
Yeah.
That if Pete Carroll is the coach, they're definitely going to have a stretch, and that did feel like a winnable stretch. All right, anything else you like? Because I got a bet here, and if I said, Sean, I got a 2-1 dog for you.
Oh, really?
Week 1, you'd be interested.
Yeah.
I'm making you wait till week 3. Seahawks first win, Atlanta Falcons +200. They lose against Denver and Russ. They then travel to San Francisco, a team that they beat twice last year. So Niners have some revenge on their mind. Plus, let's say that the Seahawks are bad enough to where Trey Lance can run the triple option.
Yeah.
They'll be okay. They'll be big dogs regardless. They then come home and they play a Falcons team that you're not.
So it's week 3. They start out 0-2, get a win at home against Seattle
+200.
Sleepy afternoon game. What is their first win against the 49ers, Ryan?
That's got to be a better price. Hold on.
Oh man, it's gonna be uncomfortable when we have Katie on the show, and I'm just shitting on Trey Lance, but she's all in on Jimmy G, so I think she's gonna understand that.
Oh, it's gonna be
Niners team is gonna be tough.
I'm very excited. I mean, mark your calendars. I think we're two 2.5 weeks out.
They are. I mean, again, I shit on them a bunch preseason. I adjusted my tune as things went along, made a ton of money in the playoffs, taking them on the money line against the Cowboys, money line against the Packers. I think I had a money line in the points against the Rams. Didn't get the outright win, but covered. So I became a 49ers fan betting wise, especially late in the season. We'll see what happens with Trey Lance though. That is still just very scary to me.
Okay. Niners is 350. Now, in the case they absolutely suck. This one's for you, Sean.
Okay.
I wrote this one down specifically for you. There's a world where they blow the game against the Falcons. They then have 2 road games, come back home against an Arizona team that can definitely pass the ball on them because Kyler is happy, right? They took that clause out of his contract.
Oh my God.
And then it's at Chargers, another loss, and then they have the Giants at home, Sean. If you were to take the Giants to be the Seahawks' first victory, 45-1. Giants to be their first victory, 45-1. I'm not advising this.
So wait, how many losses would they have?
0-7. This would be week 8. 45-1.
45 no, that's too far.
It's too far.
I think
If you think they're going to go to Carolina in week 14,
no, I don't think they're going to go
200-1. But what? Imagine this: we're all doing the whole Seahawks still haven't won a game. Carolina on deck, and you're sitting there with a 200-1 ticket because you had the foresight to say, you know what, this is a realistic path, and I don't think 200-1 is a fair price. But yeah, 2-1 at Atlanta is my my main bet.
Really? All right. So what about?
All right, I'm taking that. In addition to, I guess I'm playing the under.
Okay, because you had it at 5. You're getting plus odds on that.
I mean, I gave them they went 3-2 to close it out just to get to 5 on my board. So that feels like a strong under. Yeah. So I'm going to take first win Atlanta at plus 200.
Okay.
Man,
What about?
I almost want to change that to the Carolina one now.
What about
200-1?
What about the alt line of 6.5? Can you find an alt line 6.5, Ryan?
You know I have fucking alt lines. Let's see. Team futures over 6.5 plus 185.
Okay, so I'll add over 6.5 plus 185, and I think that would be the ultimate FU to this team. There's some bad blood in Seattle. Russell Wilson left them laying in the lurch. Isn't it like the ultimate FU? Hey, we won 7 games with Russ, got rid of him, still figured out a way to grind out 7 wins.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can have I think the toughest thing I had when looking at this team was it's hard to remove what a team's identity is when they've had the same quarterback for a long time, especially when that quarterback has really carried them. I mean, I think we could see an offense like last year. The offense looked horrible without Russ. I mean, there's a very low floor. I mean, I know we've said a lot of teams can lose the most games. If I had to bet on one team to go winless this year, it's the Seattle Seahawks.
Really? What do they? So are you giving out them to have the least number of wins? Do they?
I feel like I'm giving out a lot of teams.
Yeah. What do they to have the least number of points? That would be funny if they got over 5.5 wins and still had the least number of points. That would be the ultimate
possible.
Pete Carroll,
lowest scoring plus 750. I mean, they're behind the Falcons, Texans, and Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, they were good
coming in with a very conservative offense.
They were top 5, I believe, maybe 6th in rush DVOA. Maybe top 5.
No,
in
and
DR.
that's the thing.
They were good at it.
They're to your point that you kind of made, but you backed off of it a little bit. Was that they had a shitty offensive line last year, and they still figured out ways to run the ball. You know, look at Geno Smith's 4 starts. They lost 26-17 to the Rams at Pittsburgh. They lost by 3 points. They should have won that game. They were in it the entire time. Lost 13-10 to the Saints at home. Again, they were in that game the entire time, and then beat the Jags 31-7. So I think they're gonna be able to beat bad teams, and I think even medium teams, they're gonna be able to cover the spread or maybe sneak out some victories.
Yeah, I agree. Like I see the version where this is a decent team. I just think it relies on a lot of things to not go wrong. And I think there's a lot of ways this could go wrong. Like, hey, what happens if one of those tackles goes down? Things to get real bleak real quick. So I'm just not going to bet on the relatively best case scenario. I think they need a lot of things to go right to win 6 or 7 games. So good luck.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I like I'm going to throw it on my board.
I'm going contrarian here, Ryan. A lot of people like to zag.
Minus
I'm
140 on the over. It seems like you're with the chalk public.
Minus 150 now.
Minus 150 plus 750. We'll throw it on the board for me. Plus 750. Seahawks lowest scoring team.
Okay. Yeah, I could. I mean, even though I like the over, I could see them being very low scoring, and honestly, that might be a way to hedge the high case I have with these. Well,
do you have any fun bets that like on them being good? Like, are they worth betting on to win the division? Because we've continually had this discussion of like, wow, the Texans are 30-1. That doesn't make sense.
No, them at
the Seahawks aren't. It's not worth it because the Rams are there. Similar to the Falcons.
It's combination. I mean, again, I'm not the biggest Cardinals fan, but they're certainly going to be more competitive, you would imagine, than Seattle, although who knows. And then, the Rams are there. And then even the 49ers, like there's just enough good talent in the NFC West that the long shot them to win the division isn't worth it. Whereas like the AFC South, no team should be 30 to 1. That's crazy. Like it seems like a much more competitive division. There's less known commodities like Davis Mills, second year starter, Lovie Smith with these teams. Like, I don't know. It's easier to bake a like super high projection or come up with like a ceiling scenario. This team, I think, is still going to be relatively shitty, but not as shitty as people think.
Yeah. But what if I hear you, right? Like I get it. Like there's nothing established in the AFC South, but what if I told you the Niners are trotting out Trey Lance and the Kyler Murray, the team had the Niners, take the
Niners and Arizona collapsing. I could Arizona, San Francisco, and the Rams. You could talk me into 2 of those 3 teams collapsing, but not all 3. Not all 3 at 14-1.
What? Well, I have a bet for you potentially.
Okay.
You like the Seahawks? Maybe it's the bull case. Rams finish first.
Okay.
Seahawks finish second.
Yep.
Niners third. Cardinals fourth.
Yeah.
Or flipping the Niners and the Cardinals.
Okay, so Rams.
Yes.
Seattle.
Yes.
San Francisco, Arizona. Yep. What does that pay?
40-1.
See, now we're talking. What about just Seattle to get second place in the division?
Wait, hold on. There's Seattle to get second place. All right, let's pull that up. How great is that? Let's see. Well, you can do I'll read off the first one I found, which is top 2 Seattle, LA plus 1,500.
Top 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got both of them. Now we got. All right, here we go. I got exactly what you need here. The riveting suspense of me looking up.
Hey, if you're not
Seahawks finishing second plus 750.
No.
40-1.
Just the fact that it's exactly second, like they could. I'll just stick with the over 5.5, over 6.5. Maybe we'll go crazy in the division preview, and I'll throw some of those in there. But yeah, just over 5.5, over 6.5.
And the 6.5 was plus 185.
Like that.
So you're high on them cautiously.
Yeah. Again, like the how we came up with like a ceiling case for the Texans. I struggled to do that with the Seahawks team because of the limitations of the offensive line. But as we saw last year, they can have a shitty offensive line and still figure out how to run the ball somewhat effectively. And I think they're not going to get blown out. So if you're not going to get blown out, variance, whatever, good special teams, you can probably win some of those 1-score games that you think you might not be able to.
If I'm right, and DK Metcalf signed because he knows Jimmy G's coming.
And there's also that, like, what would you say the percentage chance is Jimmy G ends up here?
I don't know why DK Metcalf signing without some sort of knowledge that someone's going to throw him the ball better than Geno Smith. And so a 30. I'll set it at. He does not. Him to be a Seahawk is what are the odds you think? Maybe like 3-1. I mean, is that?
I think like plus 300 people would be betting on it. I mean, what it feels like there's a 20% chance, right? At least 25. The guy's going to be on an NFL team somewhere, right? Like he's definitely better than like the bottom 6-7 quarterbacks.
If that happens, they become they at least a win or two better, which means I'm probably then interested in maybe, I don't know if I still probably not taking the over though.
Really? Not even with Jimmy
Who
G.
knows what Jimmy G is out of structure. Never seen him outside of a Shanahan or
Ryan. Are you aware of the reporter Wesley Steinberg?
No.
NFL and New York Giants insider.
No, he's the spoof account. You're being trolled if you're about to.
He's a spoof account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? What was it? Read me the report anyway.
No, this guy seems like a real reporter. Are you kidding by saying he's a spoof reporter?
100%. I know who exactly.
Okay. Well, then I won't. I don't know. This has to be.
Oh yeah, 100% fake.
Because he tweeted out, eyewitness reports from camp today tell me Daniel Jones accidentally hit a disabled fan with a misplaced pass.
I mean, some of his tweets are pretty funny.
Yeah. Reading.
That's not funny.
No.
He misspelled Dan.
The idea of Daniel Jones being that inaccurate, that is funny. Ryan, you know what else isn't funny? The fact that we're giving away coffee mugs, t-shirts, so much free gear every Monday. All you got to do, well, you can buy it, store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com, or if you want to take literally 30 seconds out of your day and have a really good chance of winning, all you do is submit a review to Apple Podcast, screenshot your review before you send it in, and then click over on the contest tab in the SGPN app, submit the screenshot. You are good to go for a chance to win free gear every Monday, aka Merch Monday. Plowing through these 32 NFL team previews, all as you know, Hall of Fame game mere days away. We got some fun stuff planned for that, so stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter at Gambling Podcast. Subscribe to YouTube.com/Sports Gambling Podcast.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Sean, that's officially 10 in the books.
Kramer. Let it ride.